it was supported also back in the day by Robin Williams as just being supportive of me. And one of the sweet things about him, not only stuff like that, right? He had this thing, like, I remember on set one day, he kind of like took me aside, we're like hanging out and we were talking, and he was like, "Hey Dante, like, where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm from the Bay Area. I'm from San Francisco, like a little town called Pittsburgh." Like, cause he's from San Francisco, right? I'm like, "You're from San Francisco. Everyone knows. Like, you're a San Francisco legend." He goes, "Yeah, no, that's great." He goes, "But where's your family from?" And I go, "Oh, I'm Filipino." And he was like looking at me like, "Oh, I thought you're Filipino. I thought you were Filipino." Because his wife at the time, Marcia, she goes, "She's half Filipino." And I was like hanging out, with my family, my in-laws, and I thought you reminded me of them. We were talking about the food and about the culture. And see, like, a little thing like that from, like, this mega star. When you're an actor and you're in Hollywood, you always feel like you're on the outside looking in to the big party. And even when you're on set, I'm even on the set, and I'm like, you're in the movie with all these great stars, and you still feel like you're on the outside looking in at this big party of all the beautiful people and all the celebrities doing their thing. And he had that way of, like, putting his arm around you. Like, a little moment like that just made me feel like, hey, you belong here. You're good. You're with us. And so
yeah, that actually was amazing to be watching you in Hook among, let's say it, other Caucasian actors. And I was kind of like, there was a 10-year-old Dominica who had a crush on Rufio, and I was just like, hopefully there are going to be more people like him on the screen, because it's so amazing to be seeing everybody else from the world as well. And what they can do, and what they can learn, and what they can show, and convey.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and so I love him always for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Rest in peace, Robin Williams.
Yep. Yes, applause for that. My gosh, what a legend. And you just hear so many stories of what you just said of how he made people feel seen. It's something that for sure if people remember. We have a question over here on the right. Hello, sir.
Hi, Dante.
How are you doing? What's your name?
My name is Chris.
Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
I just wanted to ask you, you've done a lot of different characters from different franchises. Is there any character in any medium that you would clutch the opportunity to play ever?
I mean, like I said, it comes down to great stories, and we don't know what the great stories are necessarily coming into it. There are some, I don't know, it's like a weird thing. Like, you may think that, like, something like Zuko, I would never chose to, like, he didn't exist, and we didn't know who he was going to be, and then you don't know that the character's going to come and change your life. I mean, there are stories that because beyond acting, voice acting, and on-screen acting, my career's advanced, where I've been producing films for like the last 10 years, especially Asian films. And I've been directing. My latest film I wrote and directed it premiered at South by Southwest Film Festival last year. It's called The Fabulous Filipino Brothers, and hasn't made it to Europe yet, but it's on Hulu in America, and it's on Netflix in Asia. And so hopefully we can do a deal to get it out here in Europe sometime soon. But so I get to create projects, and there are new films that I've got my hand in helping to create. And so there's some stories. I mean, we have this one crazy film that I'm supposed to play called Bad Asians, which is kind of like a bad boys, these Asians that go to Asia, Asian Americans that are buddy cop comedy. That should be fun. But I don't know as far as any one particular role. There was like a skater named Krishna Soy that I was trying to do his life story, and he's like a legendary Asian skater in LA. But we never know. At the end of the day, that's the great thing about Comic-Cons. It's like, there's Comic-Cons all over the world, and especially the big ones at San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con, where it's like these mega things where the big studios spend literally hundreds of millions of dollars, if not $1 billion, to be there and create these things. And I meet a lot of the fans out there, and there's a lot of the cool nerds, the cool geeks, or they feel so awkward and not a part of the world in the way of some people. And I go, don't feel that way, because in reality, the stories and the characters you're talking about we come to these cons not only to promote the things we've done, but also to find out what the next roles are, what the next great stories are. And the arbiters of taste for pop culture and the future of pop culture lies within the Comic-Con. It's you guys. Like, you guys are the arbiters of taste. We're finding out what's the next Game of Thrones, what's the next Star Wars, and we think we know what it is. We don't know what it is. It's you guys end up knowing what it is and pointing us in the right direction. And that's where those great stories come from. So it's this relationship that we kind of have as the creatives and the artists and the fan bases out there and the communications that we kind of have through Comic-Con, which is wonderful.
That's a nice way of looking at it. I like that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's so well said. That's what we love about Comic-Con. You also come to sort of find your people, right?
No doubt.
Yeah, as far as, what genres you like, and people actually meet at Comic-Cons. They say, oh, yeah, we met last year and we came back as best friends, so we'd love to hear that. So out of all of these genres represented at this particular Comic-Con, what's your vibe? Are you watching, like, Stranger Things?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Stranger Things, Doctor Who. We've got
I've watched
so many.
Doctor Who. I mean,
Yeah.
I had to start watching Doctor Who when I started Comic-Cons because, yeah, shout out to Doctor Who. I mean, it was built, Doctor Who's one of the OG things that built Comic-Con. I
Yeah.
think it was like Star Trek, Star Wars, and Doctor Who.
Yeah, and I didn't know until I moved here. I was like, this is a strange Harry Potter cosplay.
I
What are
know.
they doing? Totally love it and get it now, but yeah, I had no idea.
Like, Doctor Who hit America late.
It did, yeah. And
Yeah.
certain things also don't translate over here, which goes to my next question. I don't know if they'll know what I'm talking about, but one of your voice acting roles was Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world
is Carmen Sandiego?
Where is that girl? Where is she?
She's great. They didn't have it out here?
I don't know. Who's heard of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, see, I grew up with that.
Yeah.
How was it working on that?
It was cool. I mean, I grew up with it also. I guess Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego was a game that we would play in elementary school or junior high or whatever, where you're kind of finding this. You learn geography and history of the world through trying to find where Carmen Sandiego is in the world.
Yeah.
And then they made it into an actual cartoon series.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to kind of go out there and play these. It was like a nostalgic thing for me also.
Yeah.
Sidekick, I think I was some kind of villain.
Remember the game show where the woman would be like, all right, gumshoes? And it was like a panel show?
No.
No? I swear it was a thing. We'll have to Google it.
I know.
We'll have to Google it. Any final questions for Dante Basco, anybody? Because we've got to get him back to the autograph and photo area. Oh, we have a fabulous cosplayer
yes.
on the right.
How
What's
you
up?
doing?
Hiya. So you were saying a little bit that you do poetry and things like that. Can you do a quick poem about your time at Comic-Con this weekend?
Quick poem. My time at Comic-Con. I mean, I don't know. I know I did write a poem. I'll do a quick poem that I can remember. But I did write actually a longer poem about Comic-Con. It's on my YouTube. It was a while ago, and I was just feeling some type of way about everything. It's when I wrote it in the middle of the night, and it was called a poem like a poem to the fans or something like that. But the gist of it, you can watch on my YouTube. But the gist of that particular poem was like, it's ironic, right? As us being artists and this whole social media thing started happening, and it was like to the followers and fans. But the whole thing about the poem was like this. It was about like, it's very strange for me because like you have all these followers, right? And you go, but in actuality, like I'm following you. Like you think you're following me, but I'm actually following you guys. And I want to always remind fans, like you're only fans of people because they're a reflection of you. Like we are only attracted to the celebrities we think, and even the stories we love, whether it be Harry Potter or Avatar, because it's a reflection of you. And so do not forget that, But as far as a quick poem, a quick poem I wrote called Advice to the Young Artist. Seek out and study with a master if you're after greatness. The aim is to impact the world and be a catalyst for changes. Forget what your name is. You should want to be good more than you want to be famous.
Bravo. Wow. She put you on the spot and you rose to the occasion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Love that. We'll get two final questions here. We'll go to the left first, and then we'll finish up with you, lady. Thank you so much.
Hi, Dante. Quick question. So, what was your favorite part of working on Avatar: The Last Airbender?
While doing it, my favorite part was really just, there's so many, like Jack DeSena and Mae Whitman, who played Sokka and Katara, we were in the booth together so much so, and Mae, I've known since she was 12 when we did American Dragon together. She also played Rose on that. So just working with those two and the camaraderie and just the friendship is one of my favorite parts of working with that. Also working with Uncle Iroh, Mako, who passed away during book 2, and he had played my uncle or my father several times through my career. Since I think the first time I worked with him, I was 12, And so he was really like an Uncle Iroh to me in my life. Someone throughout the years I got to touch base with, especially as an older Asian actor in Hollywood who's got to give me advice and check in about my career. And so that's my favorite thing about working is working with other artists that I really love and care about, and I love their work. And then after it came out, it was really about being a part of a crazy thing that kind of became a phenomenon, and it's not something that any of us can kind of pick out. We don't even know why. Like sometimes I just sat with some of the creators the other day, and we were like, wow, you know, after COVID and it came out again, and again it became the #1 show in the world on Netflix, an unprecedented thing because we never had Netflix before, and now Netflix is kind of like our TV. So for a show that was 15 years ago, we did it, to come back and be the #1 show in the world during the pandemic was like an unprecedented thing. We're sitting there again like, we're all a part of it, right? We're like, we're just dumbfounded. You're just talking to each other like, this is so weird. Like, how did this happen? It's really, my favorite thing is, my favorite thing of Avatar, I guess, the whole experience is like, leave room in life to be surprised. Like I did this cartoon. I'm an on-screen actor doing cartoons. It's just something fun. It's a gig. We work. You make money, but don't know so much. I mean, this life and this world and this everything that we do, it could surprise you. And Avatar to me is one of the biggest surprises. The present of like Dante. You may have plans and you may have things you want to do. Go do them. Go push at it. But don't forget to leave room to walk through certain doors that you may not know what's behind those doors, because there may be something behind there that's better than what you were planning or something you didn't expect. And so that's my favorite thing about Avatar and Zuko. It's like, I thought he was just this bad guy, and I was going to be a bad guy on Nickelodeon, and he became so much more, and the show became so much more, and it impacted my life so much more than I ever could have imagined. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to our final question here on the right.
Hi. Avatar came out when I was about 7 or 8 years old.
7 or 8 years old?
Yeah. And I turned 25 yesterday.
You're making all of us feel older.
How does it make you feel? Like, people have grown up with Avatar and they can walk up to you now and be like, I'm an adult and I still love that show.
Oh, no, I'm just to make you feel old. It's phenomenal. Again, Avatar, it makes me feel, good. It's great that people grew up with Avatar. Okay, I'll tell you a quick story. I was at New York Comic Con. This is the crazy part of Avatar. And I'm signing, and the lines are super long. And, this one guy comes up, and he's just about your age. And he's saying, I grew up with Avatar, and I'm, signing the thing. I'm like, I'm glad, man. I'm glad you grew up with, we all grew up together on the show, and I love that. And he goes, no. He goes, I go, what? He goes, no, you don't understand. I go, what? He goes, you programmed our generation. I said, what? He goes, no, don't you understand? You guys programmed our generation. I go, what do you mean? He goes, why do you think that we're the generation that brought protests back? I said, what? He goes, the Black Lives Matter movement, the Me Too movement. He goes, you guys programmed our generation. We're trying to get the world back in balance. And the hair on my neck stood up. And I'm like, I don't know about all that, but I understand where he's coming from. Because when we grow up, we watch cartoons and animation, and it's that part of our life where our minds are being formed at a very young age, 8, 9 years old, right? My generation, we grew up with Transformers, Thundercats, things I love and nostalgia that I love, but the world is not Autobots and Decepticons. It's not that black and white. When a generation grew up with Avatar, where it was like a world of gray, where there's good and bad in every nation, and there's a character like Zuko who has a redemption, who's good and bad, and you see that in all of us. You see the world a little bit different than the generation before, and I was like, wow, I did not even really understand that till I talked to people of your generation, and we really have conversations about this. And now beyond Avatar, anime, all the anime kids out there that are watching, so much more texture in the characters and in the storylines, and I'm fascinated to see what your generation does because you're built a little different. So I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow, what a fantastic way to end the panel. Any final words for your fans here, Dante? I know you're going to be signing over there today.
I'm just, I love coming to Comic-Cons. I love hanging out. It's our people. It's creatives and cool geeks, and we all geek out on something, so I love to come and spend the weekends with all you guys, and being a part of the community worldwide now. It's fascinating to even travel the world and do this. So thank you so much for joining for the conversation. Come say hi to me at the table, and have a great weekend, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, thank you for letting us geek out over you and your amazing career. Keep the applause going for Dante Basco. Make sure you're following him on social media.